Product placement. Amen. All right, well, first of all, thank you guys for being here. Before we start talking about football, I know we have a lot of things to cover. If it's all right with you, just today's graduation, obviously an important day for us. Two former players, Tavion Thompson, local guy, tremendous member of the team for several years, was actually in here the other day eating. Great to see him. But Tavion graduated today. Kobe Bretz, out of Omaha, who has since moved on to another school, in a very amicable decision, and we love Kobe, very proud of him. And then Elijah Jeudy, with Elijah's graduation, that gets us to 12 graduates on this year's team. So really excited about that. And I just think when you look at what we've done academically, and I know some people say, well, what's that have to do with the product on the field? I think it has everything to do with it. But when you look at what we've done academically, I think headed by the leadership of Dennis LeBlanc, but there's some people there, Andrea Klug, Caleb Hawley, William Kane, Kim Shellpepper, Katie Jewell. They pour their heart and soul. And unlike many football programs where they're working with 100 guys, 105 guys, they've been working with 160, 170 for a long time. And so now that we're down to 130, 125, they still give the same effort. And I'm just unbelievably grateful to have 84% of our team over 3.0 is amazing to be up there. Normally when they say the athletic department GPA and then the football team, it's usually the football team that's the anchor pulling it down. But to have our guys up there in that 3.3, 3.4 range, we do want to build champions for life. And we do want people to be successful. And so, Elijah, I did not let him practice. He graduated this morning. He was coming over. He had his mom and his dad came in from Philly. His wife, Jemiah, his son, Coda, were at practice every single day. Obviously, they came over earlier. His grandmother was here. Walked through the facility in his cap and gown. I made him come over, take a picture with us, because I'm really, really proud of him. When I think about where he came from when he first got here from Texas A&M to where he is now, I don't tweet a lot of things very often about moments like this, but I did tweet that because it's one of the biggest things I'm proud of in our time here. And I have to give credit to Tony White. I have to give a ton of credit to Dennis. I have to give a ton of credit to Terrence Knighton. I think they really cracked the shell and did an amazing job with him. Terry's come in and done a great job. Corey Campbell and his staff, Gus Felder. A lot of people here are just pouring into Elijah and guys like that. But if you want to know why college athletics, I know the place we're at now, why it's so important, Elijah is the first person in his family to have graduated college. And it's a wonderful family, a successful family. But what Elijah's done is an accomplishment, and very, very grateful for him. So on days like today, the Scrimmage is out there. I love football, but this is just a reminder of why we do what we do and the impact that we have a chance to have. So really grateful for those people in the academic department, but really, really proud of Elijah. And there's nothing better than seeing Maya, seeing Coda out there every day at practice. So with that, I will see what you guys have for the Scrimmage. I should probably say a word or two about the Scrimmage. We went. Tried to get to 120 plays, but didn't quite get there. Some wideouts just kind of getting run down at the end, so I just stopped it. But it was probably at 110, so it was right close. Got a bunch of live punts. We rushed the punter, tried to block it. We got a bunch of live field goals, and we went good on good. And so, two main concerns for me right now are we had some penalties. We had a Big Ten crew. I asked them to call it really tight. We had too many penalties. A lot of aggressive penalties, not silly pre-snap penalties, a lot of like defensive holds, just we're trying to play a really aggressive style. And so we'll have to go back and look at it. Offensively, it wasn't really the starters, but the down-the-line guys, some of that. And then I think the second thing is, I feel really good about our first teams. It's which guys on the second team, which guys that are backups or even third team, which guys are going to step up, and who's just okay with their role. Sometimes in the world we live in now, like we just say, well, that's my role, and then we just complain about it. And I just want to know who's going to come out and fight for a new role, because in the world that we're going to be in, we're going to play a lot of tough ball games. We're going to travel all across the country, play in different time zones, different weathers. I need guys that are in the threes right now to be starters by the end of the year, or starters on special teams. And so I look forward to seeing the tape and seeing who did that, who didn't. But the quality of play dropped from the ones to the twos, and the twos to the threes, and I don't like that. It doesn't make me happy. So some things to work on, but in general, I'd say a very successful day, and I'm happy about it to get out Scrimmage too. So with that was long. I apologize, but what you guys got?
Coach, injury update. Anybody in this week that suffered anything that would be more than like a standard camp injury?
Yeah, so Gibson Pyle went down today in the Scrimmage. He was the only guy that went down today, so I'll have to wait and see. what his was. It didn't look like it was like, at that level, but I mean, it was something they had to take him off. We had some guys like Javin Wright. Some guys get banged up during the week, but they scrimmaged today. Anybody that I'm forgetting? I know you guys. What's that? Yeah, so it's some guys like Jeremiah Jones, but all camp injuries, right? Nothing that's long term.
You mentioned last week that you wanted to see the tackling. You just wanted to see how it progressed. How that looked to you?
That was better, definitely better, and you could tell right away, Steve, that was better like the next day. And I think I showed them on Sunday. I showed them like our team at Baylor, and I hate doing this, but I showed them tackling. And I think it really, if it exposed anything, it kind of exposed me a little bit. Like, well, Coach, we can do that, like, because our kids at Baylor would come in and try to, end your life. I said that. I got to be careful how I said that, but they try to come in and they try to knock you off the field, right? Like, as you're being held up, and they're like, Coach, you always talk about taking care of each other, and so having to go back and be like, hey, we thud one way, we're live another way, and when we go live, I'm always like, hey guys, if a guy's coming across the middle, just try to, let's not blow him up. I think about the play with Fedoni where he got, kind of hit in the leg and say, don't blow up a D line that doesn't see it. So I think once they got that, they were way better. We ran better angles this week, much more physical. We struck well all week. And then today, there was one missed tackle on Mosey that went for a long play. That right away the DB was like, I gotta take one more step. But for being where we are, and we got a lot of live work during the week, I feel pretty good about our tackling right now compared to where it was a week ago. And I think a lot of that, honestly, falls back on me just, illuminating for them, hey, what I expect when it looks live.
You got the single digits done this week. Anything stand out to you about that group in particular?
Well, I'm really proud of Ceyair. Ceyair wore number 2 at USC as a freshman, and then didn't have it as a sophomore, and really wanted that number. And when we did the original vote, like, he was one of the top vote getters. Okay, and but the way it turned out, like Corey, some more offensive guys voting this year. He got maybe like one more vote than Ceyair, and so Ceyair had a decision to make. Do I want to stay here? And obviously, it had a tremendous personal significance. But as I said to him, and I think the thing that he realized is his teammates voted for him. So it's not necessarily the number that I want to wear. It's the fact that when I walk out there, when I walk out in the stadium and I have a single digit, everyone in the crowd, everyone on the opponents, every opponent, every scout, every person in this building, you guys, we all know that, hey, you know what? His teammates voted for him for that. So, he so there was really no surprises. There was a bunch of other guys, Emmett Johnson, Cam Lenhart, they were like a vote off. It's the closest vote I probably have ever had. So much so that I went to Corey and I was like, I think I might add a couple guys. And I actually texted Terrell Bernard, who's an All-Pro for the Bills, and like, hey, Terrell, what do you think about a couple extra ones? And he was like, Coach, I think that ruins it. And I went to Corey, and Corey's, he always puts me back in my place. He's truth to power. He's like, no, there used to be 9, now there's 10 because of 0. Let's do that. So, but Javin Wright, 7 seasons, 4 season-ending injuries. 4 season-ending. That doesn't count the labor me tour. 4 season-ending injuries. 3 times he was told to change his position. That to me is amazing. So, I think our team did a great job of voting, and I think this is one of the deepest drafts they could have had in terms of who to vote for.
Dana talked yesterday about one thing he was looking for today was sustained drives, those 8, 9, 10 play drives. Did you see some of that from the team offense?
Yep. I thought the offense was extremely efficient. You get to know Dana Holgerson from what you see on TV or you hear about what he's done statistically, and when you see the magic behind it, it's pretty cool because it's all just routine plays. I think he said that in his press conference. Did he say routine plays, you guys? Like, he says it all the time. It's like you kind of hear it, and all of a sudden you realize, like, he really means it. Like, just make routine plays. Just make this play over and over again, and then guess what? You're going to spin out and go make a special play out of a routine play. So I saw a lot of that. The defense fought back. The offense got off to a hot start. The defense fought back, and they got a turnover for a touchdown. So, it was good back and forth. But I loved the efficiency, even when the offense didn't score. They did move the football, change the field. So I thought it was a lot of good work today.
You said you went live on special teams a little bit. I mean, is the transition and the work that you're doing there showing up so far? Yeah,
and I'll just make it clear, I did not go live on special teams. We did come out and try to rush it. I think when you watch what Archie can do, I'm always saying to myself, what will other teams do? So if it were me, I'd probably go punt safe and make him kick it and just try to fair catch it and hold it up, or I'd come after it. So we're kind of working both. So we just wanted to come after them today with some live reps. Again, his first punt in the football game against Cincinnati will be his first punt in a football game ever. And so making sure that he's getting that shrapnel in front of him. And the guys that we have, I mean, we have former quarterbacks on there. We have so we have all these different guys because of the possibilities it opens up, but making sure they're ready for prime time in terms of blocking. So I'm pleased with the punt game. It looks as good as it can look, I think. Field goals are still a work in progress. We don't have a defined, hey, this is the guy, and I don't have a defined what's the yard line. I know we're good and tight, but like as we get out there, what's the consistency? And so, I'll have to go back and look at, that today because we got a lot of kicks in today, but different snapper, different holder, just seeing like, hey, who did the best job with the battery as it would normally be.
Did they get any? I mean, was there any blocks?
Nope. I wouldn't tell you if there were, though, just, because all of a sudden the Cincinnati guy would be like, let's go after. But no, there weren't. Don't worry.
How much clarity did today's scrimmage provide with the tackle competition, and what are you looking at of that group?
Yeah, I would be remiss if I said something right now. Like, I don't know exactly. Like, I mean, I might. Sometimes I say one thing in here and I get in to watch the tape. I mean, it really is like a whole other world. I think our offensive line has produced and played well the whole time. So I don't have any like, oh, this guy, that guy. I think Gunner's doing a heck of a job. He's playing really well. Teddy, Tyler, they're playing really well. So Pritchett's, he's got to continue to figure things out. He's got all the talent. He just has to figure out what's expected from him all the time, and so I know he's working at that. Some guys are pouring into him, so we still have 2 weeks left or 10 days left or whatever. I don't even know. We have a countdown clock out there. I don't know what the countdown is, but we still have, in my mind, I look at it like 2 weeks left. So we still have another week of. Today was the end of camp, but we have like preseason next week, and so those races are not even close to being done.
Did you do simulated like pregame stuff today? And can you describe what you said about having next week as a like dry run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know we're going to play at 11. We know we're going to play, and so we practice in the morning. So we're kind of used to 11. We kind of get up, you go, right? We know we're going to play at night. So this Thursday coming up, we'll do a mock game, and that's from we start in the morning, like, hey, brunch is at this time. Come over here at this time. Today, today we did the 2:30 game, right, which will be our first Big Ten game, and so plus, we need some heat out here. We need to practice in the the heat of the day. So. It starts off. There's breakfast in the morning, then optional recovery. Then there's a walkthrough they go to. Then they come back. Then we do like a neuro charge where we do things with tennis balls to wake the guys up and all this stuff. And then there's a special teams call out that we do. And then we go upstairs. There's an optional chapel. Then there's a meal. So we did it all in our building, like simulating like, hey, you would go back to your room, but guys just kind of went and sat on the couches until it was time for the next thing. I can't stand things like that. I always feel like it's a waste of time in terms of like, man, we spent 4 hours just practicing showing up, but we have so many young guys and so many new guys, right? So, like so many guys saying like, hey, Dane Key asking me questions like, hey, in pregame, what do I do? What can I do this? Can I do that? And as deliberate as I am, there's some things I don't care that much about. Like to me, like once we wake up on game day, other than being on time, like you're getting yourself ready to play. Like my intentionality is like through the whole season. Once we get to Friday, Saturday, like you're the ball player. I'm not playing. So just letting them kind of work their schedules out and all that. And then, Mitch, we did the full thing out in the field, the full warm-up stretch, so that they got used to that. So we did that. We'll do it again Thursday. I haven't played many 8 p.m. games in college, so it'll be different. And, there's no games on during the day, so just making sure guys kind of deal with the boredom of waking up. Like when we're in Kansas City, like we'll get up. We have rolling brunch. We try to cut the day to like 11, and then we go to a high school usually. So we'll go to like a local high school, and we'll throw the footballs around, just kind of get out of the hotel and catch our breath and just do something different and then come back and kind of get in the day. So we'll practice that on Thursday.
Dana said yesterday that Dylan's made some throws he hasn't seen before. How do you characterize his camp so far, leadership aside?
I think Dana's had a good camp. I think Dylan's had an excellent camp. He's lamenting out there to me today. He's like, I got to do this better, that better, which is what I like about him. But I think he's had a really good camp. I think he's understanding what we're asking him to do. I think the situational football has been excellent, but the drop back throw catch, put the ball in his hands. I think he's making a lot of really good decisions, and so I think it's been an excellent camp. He just needs to just keep doing it and keep grinding all the way through the first game.
How much have you studied Cincinnati throughout the off season, and how difficult is it nowadays for an opening foe? Is always tough, but especially with all these portal guys popping in that are new to the roster.
Yeah, I mean, we were watching Cincinnati in the spring. We were watching Cincinnati in the summer. it's just kind of what we do. I think I've watched. I walked by X office today. Their special teams coordinator just came from another school. He was watching that. Our guys were watching them. So we've watched them a ton. I think when you start to look at personnel, that becomes very different because they could bring other guys in. But some of their top players, the quarterback, the nose tackle, the tight end, and many more have been there. They've brought in a bunch of good players. I think for us though, I think it's really crucial is we will not start talking about the first opponent until Friday with our team. So to me, it is a slippery slope when you start talking about them really early because by the time the game gets there, it's like, I want there to be like that feeling of game week, and so especially for the next week. And so like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. While Thursday will be a mock game, we are playing ourselves still. Like we are. I hear a lot of coaches, they believe in like, hey, getting the 2s and 3s ready, and resting the 1s. We're trying to catch a lot of teams ahead of us in the Big Ten that are pretty good teams, and so we have work to do. So we're going to work on us this week. We're going to compete against ourselves. We'll get better. We'll try some, we'll move some guys up, down, just to get some different looks. But in terms of their roster, there'll be some guys that show up that that they're counting on that we haven't seen. But there'll be some guys that we're counting on that they haven't seen. And part of it's like, thanks to some of the technologies that we have now, you can go back and watch a player that's starting in one school, but how he played at another school. So we'll make tape. We've made tapes already for guys like that as well.
How nice will it be to be in camp for another week, just not have classes to worry about, and just have the guys run limited hours for one more full week?
Yeah, I think you have to be careful with it because I don't want to burn them out. So like, as I've said to them, like our hours are, like I said, we'll go from like a training camp mentality. Like when I was at the Giants, right, we were down at we were up at Albany, right? You're there from 6 a.m. until 10 o'clock at night, and then all of a sudden you get back to New York and you're in preseason now. You're getting ready for preseason games. You're kind of having a little bit more of a weekly schedule with increased meetings. So we'll do that. Like we'll go from keeping the guys here at 9 o'clock at night to like breaking the last walkthrough like at 6:15, and then they have dinner on their own. So they get some time to now kind of go out and handle their business. They get up early in the morning. I mean, it's still a full day, but it's like an NFL work day as opposed to a college day where we only get them for 4 hours. So that part's nice. I just have to make sure that I don't burn them out. And I think the challenge for the guys is as the time shrinks, as the time on the practice field shrinks, and we're not going to practice for 3 hours forever, the intensity and focus, when 3 hours becomes an hour 45 or 2 hours, your intensity and focus now has to expand. So we have to have intentional focus in everything that we do right now so that we can maximize the time. But they're tired. Coaches were arguing with each other out there on the field. Players, they're tired of hearing. We're all kind of tired, which is good. We've worked really, really hard.
Quinn Clark was up here yesterday talking. What did you see from him, and what do you think he needs to do to have an impact in the offense?
Yeah, there just becomes like a line of demarcation in each of our lives, as men, as women, as parents, as husbands, as wives. I shouldn't speak for my wife, but as journalists, as coaches, like where we like step over the line, right? There's like a line of demarcation we step over. We're like, okay, it's time. And so Quinn's got tremendous talent, and Quinn could take this next year to develop under Dane, and then hope to be ready next year. What I've seen from Quinn is I think I should step over this line right now. Like, I can make plays. I can go up and get. I'm 6'6", and was he a 10-foot high jumper or something in high school? I was 6. What is it? Not 10 foot. 6'10", like 6'10" high jumper or 6'9" in the snow in Busboom, Montana. Like it's not like when I was at Baylor down in Houston, where like the guys are in the blocks in January. And then everyone runs fast. Like he's up there in the snow jumping. So this is a unique athlete, And what I'm seeing from him is I'm seeing him like, hey, I think I can step over this line and making plays with the black. Today, like when we went to we called black the starting group, red the second group, and white, and we were kind of red, and he was out, and I wanted him to go back in, and a lot of guys would have kind of fought me on that. Like, why do I have to go in with that group? And just went out and played. And so I really like him. I think he's going to help us. And I love the fact he's not waiting until next year. He's not like, well, Dane's here and Isaiah's here. Like, the season's going to go based upon how our 2s go, in my opinion, and our 3s. And so him stepping up's been awesome.
Hey, how's Jamir Conn been? He's a guy that didn't go in the spring.
Yeah.
You hear a little bit of buzz about him. How's he been?
Where do you guys hear that buzz from? You guys get that buzz? I'd love to hear where that buzz is from one of these days. I'll tell you, I'll let you guys watch a scrimmage from start to end. All right, if you just tell me who gives you the buzz. I love Jamir. I love Jamir. One of my favorite players in the NFL when I was there, I thought he's a great player now, is Buda Baker. I'm not saying Jamir's Buda Baker. What I loved about Buda Baker was he would fly around the field and try to hit everything. He just played with like this joy and passion and love for the game. And so you see a lot of that from Jamir. We saw it when he first got here, and obviously he's a Jamar Mosey guy, right? He was playing an FCS school, and so Mosey's like, I'm telling you, this guy's a football player, so it's not like a, huge, oh my gosh, portal, rev share, NIL, this big name, but the guy loves football, and you watch him out there every single day in mat drills, and we were like, man, this guy's gonna be good, and I got snow in my ear, because, I don't really know the DBs that well, like, I know the people, I'm like, I don't know how to coach DB like those guys do in snow. He's like, I'm just telling you. And Addie's like, I'm just telling you. Well, they're right. He's a baller. And he got hurt, which stunk. But, when you get hurt, you like, when I say words like process and people roll their eyes, like, Gage Stinger's in there right now. I love Gage. Gage Stinger, day 3 for him is like, hey, can I squeeze my quad just enough to get my knee to, be tight? And then, like a week later, can I get my foot, that far off the ground? Or my shoulder, right? Can I just squeeze this tennis ball 10 times? You start to learn what process means, incremental gains on top of incremental gains, and not just going from here to here. And so, Jamir, in my mind, he's so mentally tough that the injury almost accelerated who he is. So he flies around, he's competitive, he can cover. He's like having another Malcolm out there. He can play on the nickel, he can go play corner or safety if he needs to. He'll be on teams. So, he's still a young player, so he's got some stuff to learn, obviously, but I love the guy. And I just need to make one more analogy like that. I had guys last year that I love. I love everyone I've coached, but some guys, hey, I think I'll coach. I think I'll go somewhere else. And I'm like, okay, well, coach, it's just the schedule's so hard. We have to go to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm home. I have to check in at dinner. It's ridiculous. I'm like, so the people that, are working 18 hours a day to make you dinner, that's ridiculous. I'm making you come in and have a hand. I apologize. Then I get Jalen George shows up on his visit from East Tennessee State. He's like, just so you know, if I can come here, you'll never hear me complain about eating, because at East Tennessee State, which is a great school, and Sat played there, and we used to play there. I was at Western Carolina. I'm an FCS guy, and Division III guy at heart from my coaching career beginning. He's like, but just so you know, Coach, when I was at East Tennessee State, our pregame meal was in the cafeteria with the other students. I got my tray, I said, excuse me, and I went up, and, you'll never hear me complain. And that guy's running around now. He's 290, 285. And he's another guy that got hurt. And those two guys, they're just hungry. And that hunger feeds a lot of other guys, Our college football world, it's going to be interesting to see. You give kids, some kids maybe can handle it. You give kids a lot of money at 18 years old. You see some of these kids that are signing, he's making, 6 figures, 7 figures as a 17-year-old kid. How hungry can you be? This guy was like, Coach, I was waiting in line to get the lima beans and corn to get myself ready to play the game. So if Miss Kristen tells me that she's going to give me a smoothie on the way out of the building, I'm going to say thank you. So, and also they're good players. It's not they're just grateful. They're also really good players, and so that's the Ty Robinsons of the world, right? He's a really good player and he's grateful. So I think the influence of guys like Jamir and the influence of guys like Jalen are changing our locker room and our culture in a good way, which I think we had a good one, but they're making it even better.
Coach, with the alternate jerseys being released yesterday, Dylan had a good quote kind of talking about, it's cool and all, but it doesn't really matter what jerseys we're wearing. Just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on what went through that process, but then at the same time trying to keep the players somewhat humble in the cool jerseys.
Yeah, well, Dylan's a really mature guy. He knows what to say to you, right? What he's trying to say is we know that wearing this jersey or that jersey doesn't make you play better, and if it does, then we have way bigger problems to begin with. But we have a right to do cool things. We have a right to at the University of Nebraska, we have a right to do what other schools do. We have a right to go out there and. My first year here, they had they already planned it. They had an alternate jersey my first year. It was the Northwestern game. It was 100 years. Remember, it was just a blue outline. And the guys were like, Coach, can we please wear blue gloves? And I remember it was I went to Trev, can they wear blue gloves? And guys were like, you know what? Guess what? We won the game. And we won the game because of how we tackled and caught, and we blocked a field goal for a touchdown. And we stopped them in the red zone. So I think Dylan's saying is, it's going to come down to how we play, especially versus a great team like USC. We're anticipating that being a night game. There's nothing worse than black jerseys in the middle of the day, in my opinion. So if you have a night game, you have black jerseys. It's a couple days after Halloween. We're anticipating, based on what we were told, that it should be a night game. But still, it's an 11-day pick. But I think they're thinking that. So we said, you know what, if we're going to do it. And my hope for us is I don't want to be a team that's like, it's not our thing. Like, we're an iconic look. So I want us to have like that look most of the time. But I think once a year we should step out and do something in all black. I mean, we are the black shirt defense. I mean, like when I was at Albright College, our defense wore black jerseys because of Nebraska. So I think black is a little bit within our DNA of who we are historically. So once a year, maybe we go out there and we do a different black jersey every year. And, all of us who buy our Terex coats, instead of having to buy we can buy the black Terex, coat, and we can wear the parka when it's colder out. So I think it's really fun. I think it's cool. The thing that I'm learning is as I go out in recruiting, like the kids I'm recruiting all across the country or right here in Omaha, they don't care about, like they want like a cool brand identity name, and they want to see stuff like that. So they come on the visits, they want to put those things on. So I have to mix like the iconic nature of what we do with some cool swaggy stuff. So, if they want to wear, something different here now and then, so be it. But what I won't do is talk about, the record in it and the history in it. I want to know in alternate uniforms, I think, right? Want to know. So, and I'll take it. Want to know in anything, I'll take. So we're going to go out and play. It'll come down to who tackles better. Like, Lincoln's a great coach. But I think it's fun for us to have some fun stuff. And the kids, they downplayed it. They're very excited about it. Like, they try to come up and be very professional. But trust me, they ask me about this every day. This is the world that I live in, which is a good world. So they want to feel good walking out there, and so go buy your black jersey.
Volleyball for you tonight?
What's that?
Going to volleyball tonight?
No, I gotta watch this tape. Yeah, so I gotta watch this tape. Yeah, and my family's out of town, so I'm a volleyball dad. So I go to volleyball when Vivian and Leona are here. But my wife and kids get back on Sunday. So this week they were tired of absenteeism, so they went off and had some fun. And me and Wish and Brian have been living together and working. So
I know you watched other sports here. Do you have one thing that impresses you about Dani and what you've seen from her in the last 6-7 months?
Okay, first of all, I think she's unbelievably relatable. Like, I like to play, some of you guys know I like to play a little bit of golf, not very well. And I'm out there fire throwing one day. She's out there with her husband and family, and she's like, Coach Matt. She's just like, I love the fact that she's like who she is. Like, she's just so comfortable in her own self. But like, I can have real conversations with her about recruiting and all those things. But even as I've had some conversations, it's really hard to follow somebody like that you've worked for. Okay, and so obviously she played for John Cook and all her history with Coach. I followed Steve Adazio. I worked for him, and then I left, and then he left to become the head coach, and I took over for him. And so you're like always caught in like, how do I do this? I haven't ever had these conversations with her, but I think she's done it with great grace. And I think the fact that all the young women are still here, and I think a lot of them got invited to go play in the the under 18, under 21 Olympic things, and they all decided to stay. And when you talk to them, like, there ain't no, what X say the other day? He says it to me all the time. What did he always say? That wishing, trying, hoping? You talk to Harper or Bergen or Andy or any of those guys, there's no wishing, trying, hoping. They're here to win the whole dang thing. And so that's, like I did that thing with Coach Darlington the other day. He talked about expecting to win. And you talk to former players, they're always talking about, like, hey, when the Huskers when we were rolling, we expected to win. And so we're trying to build that. So I take a lot of that from them. But one of the unique things here is just the high quality of coaches and the way they get along. Like Amy Williams, I don't know what I'm about to say about other people's sports, but she obviously she's crushing it in recruiting right now. And like she brings her recruits to see us. We walk around, we talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I take my recruits to go see Fred, and Fred talks to them. Mark Manning, I get a text. Mark Manning shows up at practice half the time, like, to see it. Our women's basketball assistant coaches come out to our practices, so it's one of the coolest vibes I've ever been a part of. But I think for Dani, the grace in which she's come into a winning situation following an amazing coach that she worked for, done it all with grace. There's been nothing that has come out controversial, but she's putting her own stamp on everything, right? And then, none of those players transferred. None of those players left. Don't we have like 15 starters? Like, we start 5 in volleyball? 6? 5? 6. We have like 15 people that can play in the Olympics someday. And the fact that she's able to keep that going means it's like Anson Dorrance, the great women's soccer coach in North Carolina, always talked about the cauldron of competition. Like, if you want to be the best, you got to beat out the best. And so, to me, that's what she's building there, and that's what we're trying to do. Like, hey, we're trying to get as many good players in as possible, and say, if you want to play, then you got to beat these guys out. But yeah, I really like her, and her husband, obviously a former Husker football player, awesome. And look forward to supporting them.
I wanted to ask about the social media videos that your team's been putting out. Archie last night, the walk and talks. Why is that important to you to have that out there?
Yeah, so here's how it started. I go out on the field and walk sometimes, and so we just hired Steven Gonzalez from University of Arizona, and he's just like been – Jay Litt did a great job for a long time. We love Jay Litt, and he's down with Scott now at Central Florida. He made all the chasing threes as a student for $10 an hour. That's how good he is. And Warren May, it was amazing for us, standing in the gap. C.J. Campbell, they did a great job in the interim, but we hired Steven Gonzalez, and he has been, I just think in general, like everything from the video, which Alex Verhurick and his team over at Husker Vision also have done. Like I went to the studios the other day. If you guys haven't seen them, you need to go see what the studios that they built. It's like, it's a game changer. Talk about recruiting. We're gonna be able to take people through there and talk about the branding and stuff that we can do. It's a game changer what athletics has done. Anyway, so Steven's like, we're walking, and I just walk and talk to recruits. So I make videos just talking to recruits, like little cameos, because I like to send it to them. They can have it. They can send it to their mom. They can post it on social media if they want. So I do that. So I literally I'll just walk for like 20 minutes, and I'll make 50 of them, 30 of them, 10 of them, whoever, not the same thing to everybody. There's nothing worse than, hey, you, and then dub the guy's name in, right? I'm talking to each guy based upon who they are and my relationship with them. So the one day I just said, hey, we should do this for the fans. That's the first day. I think I had that red thing on, and I was like, we just scrimmage number one. It's hard. I forget what I said. So it just felt real. It felt natural. And so, like, even when I'm up here, I'm beholden to the questions I'm asked, right? But I feel like there's sometimes there's like, hey, I feel like I should say this today or that. And so I think one of the things that we're trying to do a very good job of is, I've said it a couple times, when I grew up in an era of like Coach Paterno and like Coach Coughlin, like no cameras, get the freaking cameras out of the locker room, get locked in. Yet I'm such a hypocrite because I love to watch NFL films. And like last night I was like, I can't wait to watch The Kingdom, watch the new Chiefs one, right? So I love seeing all these behind the scenes stuff, but I don't want anything behind the scenes of us. And because I just was raised that way. But when my family was in Charlotte, it was like Julie and Vivian, Leona, and Bryant always being like, hey, when's the next video come out? Like, because they're wanting to know what's happening with Husker football. And I'm here every day, and they're like, well, Dad, when's the next chase? And then Julie's like, when's the next Chasing 3 come out? And why aren't you? Because and I just started thinking about everyone else that loves Husker Nation. And so this summer, I met a young lady at an event, and her boyfriend's a huge Husker fan. I remember her saying to me, she said, you guys should keep doing stuff like this. She's like, I will never watch football, but I will watch documentaries and stuff about football. And she's like, Coach, I feel like I know you because my boyfriend makes me watch all this Husker stuff. So it just started hitting me like, as I'm going out and recruiting, parents feel more comfortable with me maybe because they've seen the video instead of maybe reading what people say I am, right? They get a chance to see who I actually really am. I think one of you guys I think it was you. I love you, but you were like, oh, this actually shows Coach Rhule's relatable side. And they were saying it to me in a good way. I'm like, I'm always relatable. Am I not always relatable, Susan?
1,000.
It's not true. I'm with you. But you said that, and I appreciate that. Like, hey, I don't say, hey, what's the names of the people in the cafeteria, and walk in and go, hey, Jay, hey, Daniel, how are you? I sit there and say, hey, guys, if you walk in the cafeteria and you have to say, excuse me, ma'am, can I have this? Then you don't know the people in the cafeteria. Like, how can you not walk in and say, hey, Jay, how's your day going? How's everything going? Hey, Daniel, how you been, bro? Like, hey, Shelly, if you don't know them, then what are you doing here? So I just think for us, it's a window to open things up. Now, I have to be very careful. I don't want the players thinking, oh, Coach Rhule thinks the program's all about him. I don't. So I'm trying to talk to different players, show different players. But I just think it's an opportunity for us to, like, open up to the outside because I do feel like Chasing 3 did a lot of that for us, but it was just because we were just bringing Steven in, so we didn't have time to put together a full docu-series thing. But we have a lot of good stories to tell, like the story about Elijah. And if we don't tell our own stories, if we don't tell all the stuff that's happening good at UNL and here in football, then who's going to hear it across the country? You guys will tell some of them, right? But, like, how do you know it if you don't hear it from us? So I feel like we just got to get out there. We got to say these things, talk about them, and then, if you want to follow up, great. Like Javin, 4 season-ending surgeries. I can't even imagine that, right? Like Elijah Jeudy. There was a video of his son out there the other day, Coda. Everybody see that with his legs going up and down? Like, I think those things are amazing. So that was the thought process behind it. So I think we're going to do way more than we've ever done this year, while at the same time making sure the football's good. We're not going to ever. So I'm not going to start like talking to you during the middle of practice. Hey guys, that was this. I can't do that. But before and after, So anyway, it was long, but I do think it's really, really important. And I'm going to say one more thing. This, because people ask me about this all the time. This is how they signaled Husker. So Tony White and then Sat and those guys thought that looked like the state of Nebraska. So every picture I take, I do this, okay? Because number one, no one needs to see me with two arms around two people like this, my stomach hanging out, like, you know, I was a Baylor, my hand was like this, but every picture I take, I want branded. I'm the head coach at the University of Nebraska, and there's not a picture I don't take that I'm representing this school. And you know what's cool? I got little kids walking up to me, like, Coach, can I get a picture? They all do this. And someday, Nash, I'm going to sign you, bro. Wish his son's back there. I'm going to sign him, and on his letter of, you know, his commitment video, it's got a picture of him like when he was at camp like this, and now when he's 18 like this. And so I just think, you know, that's what this is. So anyway, I answered a lot of questions. You guys got me in a great mood. I came in early, hung out with you guys. Everyone's here. Thank you for a great camp. And guess what? Camp is over. Camp is over tonight, so I'm going to get some sleep. Thank you.
Thank you.